Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Get Up with Zandi M. If you are new on this channel, please subscribe. We are here to heal. This is not a gossip channel, this is not an entertainment channel, but we are here to heal, we're here to be inspired. And please don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload. So today, family, I want us to talk about self-worth. What opinions do you have about yourself? What conversation do you have within yourself? So we live in the world where freedom of speech is misplaced. I'm saying it's misplaced because people talk every day about other people, whether what they are saying is right or wrong, whether someone gets hurt by what they are saying. They just don't care. Then their words are justified by their rights to freedom of speech. In my opinion, freedom of speech started as a political discourse. Then it was overtaken by the society to talk anything about the next person under the name freedom of speech. It is the freedom of speech that supports an individual or a community to articulate their opinions and ideas without fear of retaliation. So it is said that everyone has a right to expression. Politically, the right to freedom of expression has been recognized as a human right in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and international human rights law by the United Nations. It is this right that has created a cruel society. I'm saying a cruel society because even children are made to feel unworthy by their schoolmates, either by their schoolmates or neighbor friends. In South Africa, we have so many cases of children who committed suicide because of their evil behavior that is supported by the freedom of speech. Their schoolmates will make fun of them, and then they ended up committing suicide because they felt like they are unworthy. I mean, it is not a nice thing to be told that you are ugly. Even if you can see yourself, that your frame is not familiar, but you don't want someone to remind you about that. You don't want someone to tell you about it. More especially if it's something that you cannot change, you cannot do anything about it. So the freedom of speech, that's me. The freedom of speech is promoting loose tongues. It is promoting the society that has no respect. No respect at all. We live in a society where people, they don't mind to enter your home, past the kitchen, past the dining room, past the sitting room, go to your bedroom, and then come out. Tell the world of what is happening in your bedroom. Freedom of speech. So we have this thing that is called freedom of speech that allows people to talk whatever, and we have no control over it. We cannot stop people from talking. The problem is when you take the negative things that are said about you, when you allow what is said about you to dictate your life or to question your self-worth. When people are talking, what do you tell yourself? Because that's the cardinal thing. What do you say to yourself when people are talking? What opinions do you have about yourself? So let's start by defining the term self-worthy. Let's define this term self-worthy. Self-worth is defined as a sense of one's own value or worth as a person. Most often, self-worth is used or seen as a synonym for self-esteem. Self-esteem comes after self-worth. There is no way you can have like high self-esteem and you lack self-worth. Self-esteem is not the same as self-worth. Let us get that straight. Self-esteem is not the same as the self-worth. And using them as synonyms is misleading, because self-worth is about who you are, your inherent worth. You were born special. And self-esteem is about what do you do. For example, I must drive a BMW to feel good. That's self-esteem. I must live in the mansion to feel good. Self-esteem. So self-esteem is more competitive compared to self-worth. Self-worth is boosted by what you do to be above others. I want to have this, I want to have that, I want to have that, I want to have that. So that my self-esteem can go high to boost my self-esteem. You need to do things that others cannot do, or have things that others cannot have, to boost your self-esteem. So self-esteem is very fragile because it is dependent on external factors. For example, I say to you today, oh, you look beautiful. And then your self-esteem will go high. Tomorrow someone says to you, you look ugly. Then your self-esteem goes down. So that's why they are saying it is fragile. Self-worth is when you are competent within. Self-worth is who you are. It has nothing to do with what you have. It has nothing to do with your social status. Self-worth is the internal sense of being good enough. Self-worth is the opinion you have about yourself. Self-esteem is very complex. That one is very complex, because you have no complete control over what is said to you or over life circumstances. Today you can drive a Porsche, tomorrow you might lose it. Today you are living a good life, lacking nothing. Tomorrow that can change and your self-esteem gets affected. So self-esteem, it's like those big balloons. Those big balloons, I don't know, they advertise brands or companies. When the wind goes south, and then that balloon will go south. When the wind goes north, and then the balloon will go north. You see, self-esteem has no solid foundation. Okay, so let us see or look at how the Bible defines self-worth. What is self-worth in the Bible? As a creation of God, you possess inherent value from the beginning of your life. This self-worth, no one and nothing can take it away from you. Self-worth comes from God, and that self-worth says, car or no car, I'm still relevant. Mention or no mention, I'm still significant. That's the self-worth that comes from God. In the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, you are God's most prized creation. You are God's most prized creation. Ephesians chapter 2 verse 10. You are the God's masterpiece. You are just enough. This reminds me of what Dr. Firestone said. He said, we shouldn't be rating ourselves. No, we shouldn't be rating ourselves. We should just be ourselves. This is powerful. We shouldn't be rating ourselves. We should just be ourselves. I don't have to drive a BMW to be me. I don't have to live in a mansion to be me. Do not hear me wrong. There is nothing wrong with having expensive car, living that life, that life. There is nothing wrong. But there is everything wrong when my life, when who I am is dependent on those things. That's where the problem is. Self-worth is not dependent on anything but yourself. Who are you cannot be traded with anything. So I want to challenge you and ask you, what opinions do you have about yourself? What conversations do you have within yourself? You need to keep check on yourself by having a constant internal dialogue. Remember, you are a soul being. So what are you saying to your inner self? What are you saying to your inner self? Allow me to challenge the opinions you have about yourself. Let me challenge the opinions you have about yourself. Do you see yourself as worthless and unworthy? Like there is no hope for your life? You are insignificant. Let me tell you, you are wrong. That feeling or that opinion comes from the devil. You are the child of the Most High God. Matthew 10 verses 29 to 31. Your very hairs of your head are all numbered. You are of more value than many sparrows. What opinion do you have about yourself? Do you see yourself not good enough? That is a lie. You are God's creation, perfect in every way. Stop listening to people and hear God's voice speaking the truth about you. There is nothing wrong with you. You were born adequate. How do you see yourself? What opinions do you have about yourself? Yes, people have spoken about you. Maybe they are still speaking about you. They are still talking about you. But what are you telling yourself? Do you see yourself? Or do you tell yourself that you are unloved? You are lying. That's a lie. You are loved beyond measure. There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends. That's John 15:30. Remember whom you belong. You belong to God. You are loved. Do you see yourself as a weak person? I'm challenging you. When you are weak is when you are strong. God's power is perfected in your weaknesses. God's power is perfected in your weaknesses. Do you have insecurities? Do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. Yes, we are reading that in Hebrews 10:35. You are precious in God's eyes. What opinions do you have about yourself? Do you feel lonely? God is with you. He will strengthen you and help you. He will uphold you with His righteous right hand. What opinion do you have about yourself? Do you see yourself as a failure? The truth is we all fail. We do fail. I have failed 1,000 times. But I'm not a failure. You have failed 1,000 times, but you are not a failure. Refuse to wear that label. Learn. Learn from what you failed on. Learn from it. God is adequate for you. You can do all things through Christ who infuses inner strength in you. God is your strength. Be strong, be courageous. God is with you. What opinions do you have about yourself? Are you fearful? Are you fearful? Do not fear, I am with you. That's God talking to you. That's God talking to you. Do not fear, I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. For the Spirit of God, for the Spirit God gave us, does not make us timid. That Spirit gives us power, love, self-discipline. Do not fear. Do not fear. Do you see yourself as someone who has no plan? Like you just don't know what to do with your life. I know the plans I have for you. God is saying this to you today. I know the plans I have for you. People will talk, but their opinions are not your reality. What are you saying about yourself? Talk to yourself. Your opinions about yourself overpowers others' opinions. Remember, self-worth is how you value yourself. How do you see yourself? Come out of that dark corner. Cancel all those negative opinions about yourself. You are so important in this world. You have your own space in this world. In the book of Luke chapter 12, verses 6 to 7, I'm reading this. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 copper coins, and not one of them is forgotten before God? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Do not fear, therefore. You are more value than many sparrows. And Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and is acceptable and perfect will of God. It is the will of God for you to enjoy life. It is the will of God for you to be joyful. Distance yourself from people who make you feel unworthy. Build your own unshakable sense of your own value. Learn to motivate yourself. Speak words of life upon yourself. You deserve all the good things in this world. Remember that ships, they don't sink because of the water around them. Ships sink because of the water that gets in them. So don't let what is said about you get inside you and weigh you down. No, those lies, those gossip are powerless without your reaction. Be selective about who gets your energy. That is self-care. Do not live in a prison because of fear of what others think about you or say about you. The only person to worry about is God. Is God happy about your lifestyle? Is God happy about how you do things? That's the only person you should worry about. Come out. What do you say about yourself? So please type on the comments. What do you say about yourself? I want to hear. Let us help each other. We're here to heal. What do you say about yourself? So, from me, Zandi M, stay blessed and look out for my next upload.